All right, guys, and welcome back to the Shadow Mark podcast. I'm so excited to be here right now. Tonight is actually very monumental for me because I think we've tried to do this 16 times or some shit like that. We sat there, and the first time TJ, his house got hit by a tornado or some shit, and then then my uncle died, and things just haven't lined up at all for the last, I don't know, it seems like forever now. And I feel like a dick about the whole thing. But we're finally getting this episode done. I'm super excited about it. I am Derek Thompson. I'll be your host or hostess. I don't know what you want to call me. Whatever you want to call me. With me, as always, is Mr. TJ Davidson.
What's up?
And joining us tonight for the first time, I'm so excited finally, we have musician, combat vet, Scotty Hasting. He is just an amazing human being. And like we kind of always do, we're going to start by just getting his story and getting everything out of the way. And then we're going to talk about where his life's taken him. And we're going to do that thing. So, Scotty, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah. First off, I'm glad to finally be able to be here. Finally. Like I said, it's been a minute. We've been working on this for a while now. But yeah, so, I'm a Kentucky boy, born and raised, Northern Kentucky, right outside Cincinnati area. Joined the military in 2010 and, decided that an infantryman is what I wanted to be because, I wanted to fight and, I got to, and, unfortunately I took the brunt of a bunch of rounds and, made it through somehow. No idea how. But yeah, now I'm playing music and broke as hell and just trying to do the best I can. So absolutely.
I love that. I don't look at you as broke, man. I look at you as just kind of the very much the image of what we look at our veterans as, because you've been killing it, man. You just sit there and you find the joy in life and you find everything you can and you seize it. You've been seizing the moment. And getting to hear some of the stuff you're doing now, I'm just in awe of it, for one.
Yeah, but, I mean, there's just so much that I'm still in awe. Like when I really sit down and think about what I'm doing and where I'm at, especially when you talk to other musicians who come to Nashville. Nashville's a 10-year town. You come, you play on Broadway, you play little shows for 10 years before anything actually happens. And I've been doing this far less than 10 years, and I'm beyond blessed. I'm beyond blessed.
I just can't even imagine. Hey, look at this. We already got a user. That's all right. I'm all right. I'm pretty sure it's Jason. But
it never says his name for some reason.
Yeah, it never says his name, so we just go with it. I know Jason Steiner will be joining us. I'm pretty sure my mom will join us tonight, so we get that to look forward to. Awesome. So you sat there. Yeah, yep, it's Steiner. Stupid Facebook bullshit.
What's up, Jason?
Gosh, man. Yeah, no, I already forgot my train of thought. So we're off to a win. I sat there and
TBI is a bitch, bro. Same.
Yeah, it's great. I'm killing it in life. Thanks to those TBIs. You deal with it and you go ahead. Hey, here we go. This is awesome. Let's start here.
Yeah. I'll be a hero stock. Or hero.
Yeah, Hero Socks. Hero Socks 2023. I'm so excited for this.
Yeah, it's gonna be so much fun. We're gonna have a great time.
Hey,
wait a minute.
You're Jason, Mama Bear. So I'll just answer this shortly. Jason told me he was going to be watching, and then I usually know how he talks, and so it says Facebook user, and I'm like, that's definitely Jason. So you learn people, and that's the greatest part about this thing. This is why I've been happy to network with people and do everything we've been doing. But you were in the military, you were infantry, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You were Army infantry. Oh, Army. So you were doing. Yeah, That's crazy, man.
Well, you know, there's only one job in the military. and that's the infantry. Everyone else just supports them. So
yeah, that's pretty much what we did too. We worked there.
hell yeah.
We were air support, so we did our thing. But
Hey, that's perfect.
we were supporting you for sure.
I appreciate
it. When did you join? For one,
I'm sorry, you broke up there. What'd you say?
oh, sorry. When did you join? What year?
I joined in 2010. I
Right,
was
so 2010.
I was an old man when I joined. I was like 21, 22. Yeah. Which is weird to think that's like old. But whenever you get the basic training and you see the idiot kids that you're surrounded by, you're like, wow, I am.
I thought you were going to say 33, bro. Or
No, I was about 20. But everyone else is like 17 and 18, so they're all little babies, man. And they're
Right.
like, this is the first time they've ever been away from their parents, and it's
it's
terrible.
a crazy thing, man. So you joined at like 21. So you were like the only guy there that could drink beer, and you were the only one that was like, man, having alcohol withdrawals through the whole thing. So you got that.
I didn't drink a whole lot, so I played semi-pro baseball before I joined. So I was
kidding.
Kind of on the straight and narrow. Yeah.
What haven't you done?
I mean, I don't really like painting a lot. Not a big fisherman, really.
But if you're a Marine, I know you can paint a dick.
I'm not a Marine, so that works out great.
Oh yeah, that's right. You were in the Army.
Army infantry, man.
If you were a Marine, you could paint a dick. I can guarantee that. We're here for that.
I can't.
We have no artistic ability, but we can do that.
That's actually the first thing they teach us at boot camp. Yeah,
First thing they teach you
dick painting 101.
Or graffiti a giant.
Yeah, actually,
somewhere.
That was the one thing.
Absolutely.
They don't have to be beautiful because they're not all beautiful.
That's so true. You come in different shapes and sizes.
Sorry.
Jeez. Anyways, so you joined the Army at 21. And you did that thing. What was the reason behind that? Why did you end up joining late? What led to the decision?
So there's a couple different reasons. One of the reasons is I just kind of for like 3, 4, 5 years ish, something like that. I just had this feeling that I needed to do something more, something different.
Right.
I had this feeling that I wanted to go do something with my life. I was kind of in like, just kind of in like this standstill of just life, just kind of just floating by. And then also I was dating someone and, she had a child and I was creating a family with her and got married.
Right.
We were planning on getting married and I needed a steady income other than playing baseball for $50 a game. And I needed something more. And, I decided that was the time, she supported it. I told her what I wanted to do, that I wanted to join the military. And she said, well, go do it. And I did. Probably within like the next week, I was at a recruiter's office. So
that's incredible. So what made you choose the Army over at all the other branches? I mean, I know you probably get to talk to the recruiters thing.
Yeah. So, for me, it was that was just my idea of what a soldier was. Everyone has their own, ideas and, no disrespect to anyone who was a support guy. My idea of a soldier is what I saw on videos and in movies, the guys who went out and fought, and that's what I wanted to do.
Right.
And they were Army guys, and I knew I wanted to be in the Army, and I wanted to fight. So that's kind of how I chose. I didn't want to just sit around. I wanted to do something that you could only do in the military, and I did.
Well, yeah, you definitely did. I mean, that's one of those, when you look back at it, it's like, this is what I signed up for. So you end up serving in the military. Where's your first duty station?
Fort Riley, Kansas. My first and only duty station is Fort Riley, Kansas.
All right. So you go to Fort Riley.
Mm-hmm.
You're living the dream there because everyone loves Kansas.
God, no.
I think there's 3 things in Kansas. I'm not sure what they are, but I'm sure that's what there is.
Corn, wind, and nothing.
Yeah, it's flat land. There's nothing there.
Yeah.
So you do that. You end up getting shipped off to where?
Afghanistan. So about 2 to 3 weeks after I graduated basic, I got to So I got to Fort Riley about 2 to 3 weeks after graduating basic and getting to Fort Riley. We were on our way out to Afghanistan. It was the Kandahar province of Afghanistan, so like the Zari district out there. So yeah, RC South, and yeah. So within a month, if not maybe a little bit more, of graduating basic training, I was in country in Afghanistan.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah, I mean, it kind of reminds me. I think, gosh, I got out of boot camp. I went to 29 Palms, and this was within 2 months of me being in the fleet. And my staff sergeant says, "You owe me." I said, "I owe you for what?" He says, "You're going to Afghanistan." And I was like,
"Yeah,
what the fuck do I owe you for?" That doesn't make any goddamn sense. I said,
"For sure,
I owe you. I owe you. You send me off to the middle of nowhere. This is great." So I do that, do my thing. But you end up in Afghanistan. You're in Kandahar province. You're doing your thing. So let's go through that story, because, and I wouldn't focus on that so much, because, you know, when it comes to looking at the past, we have to be able to move on. And it never helps looking at the past. But
I agree. But the past kind of transforms who we become into the future. So, and what happened in Afghanistan absolutely did. It changed me.
Yeah, exactly.
Who I am. So,
and that's why I wanted to talk about it, is because I know you've been through a lot, and I just want to know how that made you who you are today.
Yeah. So in Afghanistan, and probably 3 months in, we're going on patrol, and basically what happened was there's an ambush, and I was in front, and the guy was probably 10, 12 feet away from me, and he started spraying, hiding behind a wall, and I got shot 10 times, 5 times in the shoulder, 4 times in the hip, once in the thigh. I was alive and awake the entire time, from the moment that I got shot until I was in the trauma unit at Kandahar Airfield. I mean, I feel like the way that it changed me was just for just this crazy, this unwavered appreciation for life, and how quick it can change. Like, it can literally be you're living and then dead, and that's exactly how it was. It really showed me how fast it can all end, and basically just to do everything you possibly can now. Like anything you've ever wanted to do, go do it. And that's kind of how, how it all happened, so I got injured. I was at Walter Reed for a month inpatient, 6 months outpatient. And then when my guys were coming back to Fort Riley, it took basically an act of Congress. I had to talk to my congressman to make it happen to where I could get shipped from Walter Reed back to Fort Riley, because I had to be there when they got there.
Right.
Some of the greatest people I've ever met didn't come home, and I wanted to be there with my guys, and so that they could see that I was still here. Because there were a lot of guys. Yeah, there were a lot of them that, they heard from the grapevine that I was doing okay, but they, you don't really believe it until you see it. And it was an amazing reunion, having them come back, and it was amazing, but it was also incredibly heartbreaking because 2 of my best friends didn't come back. But yeah, so got to Fort Riley, and I decided that I wanted to be better. I didn't want to become, so at the time I had been at Walter Reed, and I ate one too many milkshakes, and I got a little bit chunky, like super chunky. And
me too, man. I get that.
I was pushing about 300 pounds. I'm 6'4". I'm 6'4", so 300 pounds.
Holy shit, you're 6'4"?
Yeah. So 300 pounds is big for me. Like, I'm normally like in the 250, 260 range.
Well, fuck off.
300 was a lot.
I'm 6 foot.
Yeah. So I decided when that happened that I needed to get my shit together, basically. I didn't want to be, I wasn't going to be one of those soldiers that went to a WTB or a soldier recovery unit and like became this shitbag, right? I mean, we've all seen them. The dudes who, use the system in every shape and way they possibly can and get shit that they don't deserve and, move on. I didn't want to be that. So I fought tooth and nail to get back to a line unit. It took 4 years for them to finally, at 4 years and 4 different times of doing the physical test to try to reintegrate back into a line unit. And I was the person at that time, I don't know if they still do it, but I was the person at Fort Riley that has done the physical test more times than anybody else to get reintegrated back in, because I kept trying and I never wanted to stop. Because for me, when I joined the military, I had a plan that this was going to be a career. Like this was going to be, I was going to do this forever. I loved the military. I loved being a part of the military. It was super easy. Being in the military is so easy. You're told where to go, what to wear, and when to be there, what to wear and when to be there. It's super easy. I mean,
that's what I've been saying.
Yeah, the military is unbelievably easy. And then, and that was what I wanted to do and make a career out of it. So I fought like hell to try to get back into that and get back into a line unit. And then about 4 years later, that was when they were like, listen, you've done the physical test more than anyone in the history of Fort Riley and WTB. So it's time for you to figure something else out. Like we have exhausted everything we possibly could. It's time to move on. We have a list here of jobs that you can do if you want to stay in the military. And all the jobs were jobs that I could have done when being out. And I didn't want to do that. If I was going to be in the military, I wanted to fight. I mean, at the end of the day, that's to me, that's what the military was. We fought for what we, and that's what the military was. And I didn't want to sit behind a desk for the rest of my career. So I decided to get out. And
so how many years was that? So it was after what, 4 years?
So after I got shot, it was about 4 years that I fought and fought. I mean, I got to where I was doing PT tests to the best of my ability. I mean, I was going to boards. I got my E5 stripes while I was in the WTB. I had a bunch of different like barracks. I became like the barracks sergeant and shit. Like I had like, they were giving me like legitimate responsibilities in case like there was a chance that I did move on, then I would be able to go into a line unit already having that sergeant experience. And so,
well, that's incredible, man.
Yeah.
So you go from semi-pro baseball, then you go in the military. You end up getting shut up. You're forced out. I mean, is what it comes down to.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, the Army said, "Listen, you've done the best you can, but it's time to go."
And
that's what it's like. I mean, I feel like everyone who med boards feels like they got forced out.
Yeah, I think that, man. And there's a lot of people that they get more med boarded and they pretend like they did everything they could and they couldn't have, but you definitely did everything you could. And
I mean, like I said,
that's just incredible, man.
Yeah, it wasn't a med board for me was never on the table until the Army said, "Okay, you're done. Like you've done as much as you can. You've tried and tried and tried, but it's just not getting there." And then that's
so. What was that like? What was the final like? They were like, "You can't do it." What was that? Because
it was fucking devastating, man. It wasn't something that I ever believed. I never once believed that I wouldn't pass I figured if they just kept giving me more tries for the physical exam to reintegrate, like I would be able to do it. And they did. Honestly, I will give it to the command out there, man. They did as much as they possibly could for me. Yeah. It really helped that I was like the only Purple Heart recipient out of 200 soldiers. So it kind of helped, but yeah, I mean, it was rough, man. It was a reality that I wasn't ready or expecting, because it's not what I wanted. I wanted to fight and get there and get to another unit and continue on. But
Well, I mean, I can't tell you how much we respect that. I know myself and TJ, we respect that so much. And there's so many people in life that don't put that effort in, and you put that into everything you've done, it seems like. So you end up getting out. What's getting out look like for you? Because that's a difficult process.
Yeah, man.
It's not something you wanted.
It was freaking hard, man. It was harder because right at the same time I was going through divorce as well. So I was, doing all the custody hearings and divorce crap, but also, being transitioned out of the military, being pushed out of the military, basically. I was lucky in the sense. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate you, man. I was lucky in the sense that that I was able to find like an escape in archery. So they gave us a list of adaptive sports that we could try because at one point in time, the Surgeon General or something of the Army was really pushing adaptive sports, and because us in the military, we're super competitive freaking people, man. We can't help it. It's just who we are. And they were like, well, give them adaptive sports, man. It'll give them that competitive edge again. So I was given a whole list of stuff to try, and a lot of it I couldn't do because of my hand and my nerve damage in my hand. I can only straighten these two fingers. The rest of them just kind of stand claw. Yeah, I have no feeling in this hand at all. I can feel pressure, but I can't tell what the heck I'm touching.
Your ass is playing guitar. Good for you.
Yeah, well, that's a whole nother story.
We'll get there.
I decided, I tried everything, and a lot of it just wasn't my thing. There were, again, I'm on this straight and narrow. I'm trying to become this like ultimate soldier so that I can get back into line units. So a lot of the stuff that they gave me, there was a meditation class that became like just people falling asleep in it. And I was like, I'm fucked. I walked out of it. I was like, I'm done. I'm not doing this. Like, this is not what you do during a work day in the military. Right. You don't just take a fucking nap. And this is supposed to be like,
how incredible would that be?
Oh, right. Like, what the hell? But yeah, so there was that. There was like random like art stuff. There was even at that point there was guitar lessons, and I was like, no, I don't want to do that shit. That sounds terrible. Yeah, that sounds terrible. And my hand, of course, my hand. I can't learn it because my hand's messed up. So I found archery, and the guy that introduced me to archery, his name was Jesse White. He was the guy who like ran the archery stuff at Fort Riley. And so we got there, and he's like, you ever shot archery? And I was like, well, yeah, I've hunted. Like, what is it? What are these circles and stuff? Like, what are these targets? You shoot these targets? Are we allowed to shoot targets like this? He's like, what? And I was like, man, this is a whole new world to me. What are we doing? And so he was like, all right, grab a bow, blah, blah, blah. But I got into a bow. I'm right-handed naturally, which means that the release is on this hand, which is the hand that I can't feel. Which, looking back now, it was a terrible idea. I don't know whose idea it was to be like, hey, put this trigger that you're going to put your finger on that you can't feel on this trigger and then pull back and hope for the best. Because what happened was I shot 3 arrows into the ceiling and then I got kicked out of the damn range. And I was like, and I was like, what the heck? Like, no. And I'm too hard-headed to just kind of let that be like my time with archery. So I was like, no, I'm going to learn how to fucking do this. So I was talking to Jesse, the guy who runs it. I was like, well, this hand doesn't do anything, man. And when I was shooting, like, you didn't want this hand doing anything. So what if I just switch? What if I use this hand and I just hold the bow with this and I release with this hand? He was like, you think you could do it? And I was like, fuck, let's try it, dude. I don't know. And so we did. And I got really good. I got good enough to where I got recruited by the U.S. Paralympic Committee, and I shot archery with the U.S. Paralympic program and traveled all over the country and shot professionally and made good money doing it, and am still technically part of the Paralympic program.
How cool is that?
Yeah, it was awesome. And it was great because with archery, I found an escape and I found a peace, for those 7 seconds before I release the shot, nothing else matters but me and the bow and the target. And I would live for those 7 seconds. And that became like my way of finding that escape to get away from, my demons and the crap that I deal with every day, all the depression, the anxiety, the PTSD, all that other shit that just comes flooding in. So archery became that for me. And and then COVID hit and archery got shut down, and I needed something else. Literally everyone all the archery tournaments were just being canceled and the world shut down. And, when it's quiet and you're by yourself, that's when the demon's not the loudest. And,
exactly.
And I needed a way to shut them up, and a way to escape out of that, headspace. And,
so before we dive into music,
because
I know this is where it's going.
Mm-hmm.
You were kind of just talking about how you were still trying to find a way to get back into what you were doing with the military.
Yeah.
When did you have that final realization that that's done?
I think that the final realization for me truly was in the car after that fourth physical test, was the realization that I maybe this isn't going to happen. And man, it broke me, dude. It was hard. It was, me and my wife at the time were having a lot of issues, and then to just throw this on there, and I struggled.
Yeah, I'm sure, man. I was just curious because you were talking about you doing the archery thing, and you were like, I was still trying to prove to myself that I could do it.
100%. And, I think that's one of the reasons why I became so invested in archery and why it became this challenge of like, no, fuck this. I'm going to overcome it. Like, you're not going to tell me I can't do it. Everyone has been telling me I can't do shit. I'm going to figure out a way to do this. And I did, which is amazing.
So was like being able to do it kind of like I don't need the military to tell me what I can do anymore. Was that?
It was kind of my way of, regaining control, because everyone, doctors, my wife at the time, PT, physical, OT, all the specialists that are seeing would tell me a lot of you can't. And I needed, and I think that's why I became so invested in archery, because it was the one thing that I figured out how to do. I could do this. I think that's why I fell in love with it so quick.
That's
just
awesome.
A big fuck you to you guys.
Absolutely. Like fucking tell me I can't do it.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's even better because my wife at the time, I was talking to her about like, hey, this is like what they're telling me. Like I could possibly go. I was like, I could possibly go shoot with the U.S. Paralympic program. And she's like, oh, you're not that good. And I said, bitch, I'll show you. And I was at one point I was number 4 on the Paralympic team. So fuck off.
I wasn't one. Jesus Christ. I wasn't laughing at you. I was laughing at this shit.
Who knows?
But hang on, there's going to be a stage for that?
Yeah, it's its own stage.
Fuck.
Off to the side.
Finally.
Here.
Something I'm good at that I can show my talents to the world.
Right? I've been waiting for this moment.
Donating jackets.
Just so you all know,
good. I'm really good at donating jackets.
Hero Stock, if you guys don't know, will be live in Ashland September 9th. And we're going to have a jacket off where everyone will be able to donate their jackets and to veterans, homeless veterans, and homeless folks. It's an amazing thing that we're doing, or that Jason's doing, rather. I just throw us involved because TJ is the one that came up with the glorious jacket off, and I'm really excited about that. But back to what we were talking about.
Yes.
You did the archery thing, and then you were looking for purpose outside that because COVID hit, and that really did. I mean, it screwed up everything. I mean, everything
100%.
kind of came to a shutdown.
Yeah. Yeah, it was terrible, man. And you know, it was the worst part about it was the fact that there was nothing to do, right? And you were literally sitting in silence, or you were left to your own devices, which is even fucking worse. Especially for veterans who struggle with PTSD and depression and anxiety, like being left to just fend for yourself is fucking terrible, man.
Oh, it's miserable.
And you know that's how you know people become alcoholics and take a bunch of drugs, and next thing you know they're not here, because it's just it's yeah, like I said, when it's quiet, that's when the demons knock the loudest, and it's fucking miserable. So I needed to find something to do, man. I was going crazy. I was going absolutely insane. I needed to figure out something that I could dive into and find that new escape that I had found in archery. Right. So I had always had an archer. God, I had always had a guitar sitting in the corner of my room.
Right. You still got that guitar?
Absolutely. This one right here. I'd always had this guitar sitting in the corner of my room, and I actually got this while I was at Walter Reed. So there was a nonprofit called what the hell? Guitars for Troops, and they used to send guitars out to people who were deployed. I wanted one because I had a buddy that in my unit that knew how to play the guitar, and I was like, "Fuck it, dude, let's figure this out." And I learned he's cool when he plays it, and I decided that I would order one, and I did, and it didn't get to me until I was at Walter Reed after I got shot. And for the longest time, it kind of pissed me off to look at it because of it represent me getting shot and not being able to do something now. Because for the longest time, I was told that I couldn't do anything. So when COVID hit, I decided that I would deep dive into learning how to play this fucking guitar. And I did. I mean, I jumped on YouTube and I watched so many freaking videos. And I mean, literally, you can learn anything on YouTube, and I fully believe that. And I learned how to play the guitar on YouTube enough to where, like, I can get away with playing like what I do now.
Man, how fucking thankful are you that it was your right hand that got fucked up now?
Pretty thankful. Yeah. If not, I would have had to learn how to play. I would have had to learn how to play left-handed, but then it would have been hard. I was
just thinking about that. I was like, man, if I had to play left-handed, I'd be fucked.
Like, yeah, it would be. I would have figured it out, but it would have been harder. It would have just been harder to find a guitar because it's a right-hander's world in the music industry,
right?
Sure. Yeah, man. Like when I was in the military, like once I found out that I could shoot archery and that no matter what they say, I was going to fucking do it. I kind of got in that headspace to where I was going to figure out a way to adapt to it, regardless of what people say. Like I learned how to ride a motorcycle with my hand messed up the way it is. I learned how to do a bunch of shit. Learned how to write all completely different than I used to. I mean, there's so much stuff that I've learned how to do adaptively that I knew that if I really put in the time and effort that I could learn how to play guitar without a doubt. So I did. And I basically just learned how to strum G, C, E minor, and D. And then I learned how to use a capo. And I was like, well, fuck, dude, I can play anything. I am a guitar master. So
yes.
So after that, I was like, okay, well, COVID is still happening, so Nashville's completely shut down. But the outskirts of Nashville don't give a fuck about COVID. So I'm going to go to this open mic, and I decided that I would go to an open mic and I would learn a couple songs and I would go out there and play. And so I did. At the end of the day, I have nothing to lose. So I figured, why the hell not? I've been singing my whole life since I was a kid, with boys choirs and in church and stuff like that. And I just learned how to play guitar good enough to where I could, pass off as someone who knows kind of what the hell they're doing up there. And I figured, why not? So I went up there and I played the first song and I was fucking hooked. without a doubt, I knew that was what I was supposed to do. It became the escape that I was looking for, but that I got from archery, but on steroids. Listen, I'm pretty sure that I've told this story so many times. But music became that escape. And when I'm on stage, it's amplified, man. It's fucking incredible. I got to where I started playing all the time, like every other day. Right. I was out playing, and I longed for it. It was something that I needed to do. And then I got into learning how to write music, and then that became a whole escape in itself, and really diving more into guitar and learning more that you can do with a guitar. And it was right. Just like all these things added up that just became, escapes for me. And it was right. Incredible.
So this is going to be me being a therapist. Yeah. So you, if I'm guessing, you're probably an adrenaline junkie, based off going infantry, doing everything you've done. Mm-hmm. How does playing music correlate back to that kind of adrenaline rush that you felt with combat? Like,
yeah,
what's that look like?
Man, so when I first started, it was like that rush of nervousness, kind of that adrenaline nervousness that you get. Kind of like it was like a feeling that I hadn't felt since being in combat. And it was it was amazing. I don't get it as much now. Now I strive for like really big shows because because that's what gets me now, or like really historic places. Like I haven't been like super nervous playing in a while. There comes a point, like usually in my shows, where like I kind of get in the zone and I kind of like escape into everything that's happening and really be able to interact with the crowd and stuff like that. And I think that's kind of that, like that feeling as well. I kind of live for that feeling as well. Kind of like that, right. That just like, it's just like a vibe, man. It feels so good to like be in that space. But yeah, no, like I played at the Bluebird down here, which is an incredibly historic, significant like music venue for songwriters. And I played there. That was the first time I'd been like shaking nervous in a while. And it was just because of like what that place represents. It wasn't the fact that there were so many fucking people there. It was just the fact that there's been, massive artists that have been there. Taylor Swift, exactly. Or Garth Brooks. I mean, people that are just, bigger than life.
That's just insane to me. I mean, thinking about it and looking at it, I mean, and this has all happened since COVID. So that's like 2 years, man.
Man, it's crazy. I was thinking about the other day. I have a lot of stuff happening right now that I am right. I'm beyond blessed. Like I said earlier, like Nashville is a 10-year town. Like usually nothing happens within 10 years. And if nothing happens within 10 years, you can either stay and keep trying or it's time to go somewhere else. Right. It has been 4 or 5 years, 3 years, 4 years. I don't remember. Whenever COVID hit. Since then, for me, in which I'm moving. Man. Yeah, like I'm moving faster. 3 years. I'm moving faster than anyone I've ever met, which is insane. Because now, I mean, I'm playing big venues. I opened for Dave Grohl. I opened for Scott Stapp from Creed. I've opened for Dave Mustaine. I've opened for Jelly Roll, Tanya Tucker, Ian Munsick. I'm playing. That's so crazy. I'm playing shows that I never even fathomed would be a fucking possibility for me, and it's been.
And you're working with big names. I mean,
yeah, and I'm working with a label called Black River Entertainment, which has Kelsey Ballerini as their top artist, which is she's the biggest name as a female in country music right now, which is crazy. Other than Lainey Wilson,
next to Lainey Wilson, yeah.
And you know, they have amazing artists, and you know, the fact that they want me to be a part of the family, which is really like the thing that sold me on them, was when I met them. They have truly welcomed me in as part of their family, which is unbelievable, man. And it's more than I could ever ask for from a label. Yeah, I have a song coming out with Lee Brice and Dolly Parton sometime this year. I mean, what the fuck,
bro? I have talked about that shit so much.
I
Everyone's
don't like.
Who is this Scotty Hasting?
I've listened to it. That song, I've listened to it at least 200 times since I got it.
Oh, I'm sure, man.
At least, and it still gives me goosebumps every time, because it's so hard to believe that song is a reality. Like, it's so hard to believe that Lee Brice and Dolly Parton, man. Like, Lee Brice is huge just by himself, but Dolly Parton, like, she's a fucking icon, man. Like, people around the world know who Dolly Parton is.
Yeah,
like,
name one mother hummer who doesn't know Jolie.
Everyone knows who Dolly Parton is, and it's insane, man. The fact that she wanted to be, you know, the fact that her and Lee both wanted to be a part of my journey and all of this is just, it's unbelievable. And the song
you got to where you are because you've been working 9 to 5.
I like what you did there. How's it going? But yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of artists that, they hear my story and they're like, yeah, I want to meet them. And, and it's great because, my mentor, Doug Johnson, he's the head A&R guy from Black River. I write more with him than anybody else. He's written 3 Wooden Crosses. He wrote Love Like Crazy. He wrote If She's Lonely Now, She Won't Be Lonely Long. He's written some amazing songs that have transformed country music. And I write with him a lot. And, he always tells me, he's my mentor. And he always tells me, your story's going to get you in the room, but your talent needs to keep you there. So I work my ass off on my talent. I mean, I know I got a decent story. Like, I got shot 10 times and I'm alive. That's pretty interesting. People want to understand what the hell that's all about. It's a good
story.
Yeah.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, it's just, it's hard to find.
I think 50 Cent only got shot 9 times or some shit.
That I agree. I agree. Also, anytime Curtis Jackson or 50 Cent wants to hit me up for a song, let's fucking do it. Like, I'm down.
How cool would that be?
Dude, right?
That's what I want to hear. I want to hear the
I would love that. I would absolutely love that. I'll even rap. He can sing.
So
I don't give a shit.
That's what you should do. You should do the rapping part and let him be in like,
absolutely,
freaking damn.
Absolutely, he can sing the chorus and I'll do the rapping. I don't care. I just want to be on a song with him. That'd be cool.
Hell yeah,
that would be so cool, man.
Yeah.
Oh absolutely. God. So we're sitting here and you kind of alluded to it. So how much do you think like your story's gotten you where you are? How much do you think is talent? Like, where's that at for you?
I think my story is the initial thing that really gets people's attention. I know that it is with the label. I know that it is with a lot of people. They want to hear more. And then they hear my songs and they're like, oh shit, okay, hold on. This guy's actually pretty good. Or, they'll hear they'll come to a show or something and be like, oh damn, you're actually pretty good. Like, yeah, what the fuck?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I heard your music first before anything. I didn't have a freaking clue what your story was.
Yeah. I mean, and that's another, like, I'll get people come up to me and they're like, oh man, like, I love your music, blah blah blah, and then they follow me on Instagram or whatever, and they're like, dude, I didn't even fucking know you got shot 10 times. Holy shit, here's a beard. Like, like
that's what it was for me, man. I was like, this bitch got shot 10 times. This guy's fucking awesome.
Absolutely.
I was like,
but yeah, I would say,
I was like, I love his music.
But yeah, I would say, as far as like my career is concerned, getting me to that next level, I would say that my story is probably 100% of the reason why I first get initially noticed, and then it becomes, oh shit, you have all these other fucking songs that are great also.
Well, how weird is that to you? Like, just calling it like your story, right? Talking about your time in combat and everything. Mm-hmm. Does it feel weird to you that is what is like interesting to people? Like, because I know a lot of times people have their story, right? But to them, you're like, well, that's just how it was, and that's what happened. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
so
I mean,
that's why,
it was at first.
Yeah.
You know, at first it was like, why do you guys want to hear this? Like, you know, it's just, it was kind of like this dude. I went through this like a while ago. Like yeah, it's not that big of a deal to me and to like my family. Like we've lived this. Like it's whatever.
Right.
But then, you know, it kind of became this, you know, I really thought about it and really kind of, you know, really came to this, you know, idea that, you know, that I've lived this for 10 plus years. Like a lot of people are just finding this shit out, you know, and I need to be available to be able to explain it and talk about it, because at the end of the day, that's what matters. You know, for me, like with music, like I never wanted to be that guy who lives in a fucking mansion and is fucking crazy loaded. I just wanted to be the dude who helps somebody with the shit that they're dealing with, you know, in the sense that they realize that my song, How Do You Choose, is a song about my best friend that got killed in Afghanistan, and me arguing with God, basically asking him how the fuck did he choose him and not me when I got shot 10 times.
Yeah.
That's
I just want you to know
and
that
so
song
many
made
of
me
us
fucking cry, man.
Yeah.
Well,
And so
on
many
that,
of
I
us
just
deal with
watched
that. And I want people to understand that you're not alone. If you're dealing with that shit, you're not alone, man. All of us deal with that shit.
Yep, there's a bunch of us. So, but on that note, though, where can people find your music?
Oh man, you can honestly go to my link tree. You can find it on Instagram, Facebook, in all my social medias. You can find, if you want to listen to my music that I have out, like full songs, you can go check out Apple Music, Spotify, anywhere you get your music. I have music out.
Gun Room Radio.
My new stuff is going to be getting released sometime this year. Do what?
And hopefully it's getting released on Gun Room Radio. That's what I'm hoping.
We shall see. Yeah, no, if I release a song, I promise you Donald will play it. Absolutely.
No,
I'll make him play. I'll go to his house and beat him until he does. So.
I'm one of his new DJs, so I'm really excited about it.
It's probably going to be a struggle to get any of your music onto his radio station, I'm sure.
Yeah, I know. It really is. It really is. I got to pay him more than everybody else, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Ryan says, hey, what's up?
What's up, Ryan?
Love you, man. No, I think we asked that. So I just went through your YouTube before the show. I was like, I need more Scotty Hasting.
Yeah.
And
I will. So we have, right?
I was wondering how much of that is like, I bet you used to have a billion songs on the internet.
No,
really?
I've only had 2. I've only ever had 2 right now.
So when do we expect the album?
We're not going to do an album. Well, we're not sure. It really all depends on the label. It really all depends on the label. We have 8 songs that we're working on right now that we're trying to finish up.
That's incredible.
Which is really cool. We have the Lee Bryson Dolly song. We have a song that I'm working on with Jamie Johnson. We have a song that my daughter's actually on, which is really cool.
That's so cool.
And
That's cool.
yeah, we have some other artists that are possibly going to be making cameos in my songs as well. But we have 8. Yeah, we have 8 songs right now that we're working on. And basically what we need to do is we need to get them finished and mastered. And then we're going to sit them down and we're going to tell my story through the songs. So what we want to do is we basically want to tell the story. You know, at the end of the day, that's what we're here for, is to tell a story and let people figure out who I am through the music that I play.
I love that.
Yeah, which is an amazing idea. I love that idea. I love the fact that that's what they want to do too. And
how hard has that been?
It's the only hard part about it is truly that we're having to wait so fucking long to get all these damn songs done. I have been ready to release some of these songs for like about a year now, and I'm like, all right, we need to get it going. Like I have a song called "Forever to Me" that is done and ready, and I have been chomping at the bit to get this song released.
Bro, I'm dying to hear more of your music because I mean, like I said, man, I got on YouTube, I got on Spotify, I got on fucking our radio station with Gun Room Radio, I got on goddamn
Apple Music.
Music. I've been everywhere, and I'm like, I can only find these 2 songs. I was like, I need more. Like I just do.
I'm so ready to start releasing songs, man. But that's another thing, man. Like I get caught up in this sense of like I need to, this shit needs to move. It needs to move now. I need to get it going, blah blah blah. But then I look back, like I met a dude Saturday when I was playing at the Moxie on Broadway. I met a guy who's been in Nashville for 8 years and he's still trying to get on Broadway and play music on Broadway.
Right.
And it really put everything in perspective, the sense of where the hell I am compared to some of these people. And it's like, okay, like hey, things can take.
But so you're a combat veteran, though. You're pushy. You know.
Yeah, I mean, like, we want it now, right? That's who we are.
That's how. So people give us shit all the time because, like, you know what? Even us starting the podcast, we didn't know what the hell we're doing. Still, not that we do, but like, how do you do it? Shit, I don't know. Figure it out, Google it, and like,
we'll figure it out.
Like, let's get this shit going. You know.
Yeah, but I'm gonna figure it out right now.
Yeah, and that's what.
Absolutely.
But it's funny to hear it though, just because like I get that all the time from my wife and some other people or whatever. Like, dude, you need to chill out. And I'm like, no, you fucking chill out and let me do my shit, okay? Like,
I don't know why you're not trying to hurry. Like, what the fuck, man? We're trying to do this. Absolutely.
This is Jason.
Yeah, and I get caught in those days where I'm like, man, like we need to get this shit going. Like, we need to get it moving. Like, right now, what we're trying to do with Black River Entertainment is we're trying to do a sister label for just veterans and first responders, and it'll be a label that is strictly focused on them, the musicians that are first responders and veterans. And
I know a guy.
Yeah, I can't say too much about it but basically I'm gonna be the guinea pig in the face of it for the first little bit. But
hey, look, I'm just saying, I know a guy that's a veteran and first responder.
Yeah, you know how to play music and sing?
Yeah, I do.
Good enough for distribution?
I'm trying.
Wait, we talking like Saturday night karaoke bar type shit?
I mean, sure.
Because I can get down as long as you're not trying to be impressed by any of the music aspects.
Yeah, so that's what we're trying to do. There's other people out there that are doing it, but we're trying to do it through a major label. Which is really cool, which is unlike anything else. The fact that, this label that, that makes millions of dollars, it wants to create their own label for first responders and veterans is incredible.
That's pretty
badass.
Yeah. And I think it's really cool because I think a lot of us veterans have stories that we want to tell that need to be heard. Not only for other vets, but for civilians just to kind of understand us. Honestly, that's where my song, The Stories That They Tell, came from.
That's such a great song, man.
Thank you. Yeah, that was the first song I ever wrote with Doug, my mentor. He was.
I just listened to it, I think, 6 times before this podcast.
Well, hell yeah, I love that. But yeah, that song came to be while I was at Walter Reed. I noticed that we as veterans tell stories to each other, and I noticed it a lot, man. And it was awesome. You saw people laughing and crying and shit at Walter Reed because they were telling these stories, and it really, you could see how therapeutic it was to tell stories amongst each other. And and when I and I always had that idea of this, if you could only hear the stories that we tell, like if you could only hear the stories that they tell, like, because there's a lot of stuff that we won't talk to with our family, but we have no fucking problem telling some random dude who was also in the military that was in Afghanistan around the same time that I was, these stories about all my buddies and stories about his buddies and things like that. Like, we have no issue with that.
There's a mutual understanding there, though. Like,
absolutely.
And I think that's like monumental for people who have traumatic experiences in their lives 100%. To have that outlet. Because if there's no one you can tell it to, no one you can get that off your chest with. Yeah. And of course, it's usually not like that when you're telling stories to other veterans and stuff. Because of course, you're gonna somehow, it could be a terrible story, but it's still gonna be like funny at the same time.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, and we have such a dark sense of humor, man. Like,
right.
The civilian could hear him and be like, "Oh my god," but we're fucking dying, and we think it's hilarious.
Yeah.
And it was really cool to see like that dynamic of that we'll tell someone who's been there fucking anything, but we can't tell people that we love certain things, you know. And that was kind of where that idea came from. When Doug sat down with me and he was like, "Hey man, let's write a song. What do you want to write about?" And I was like, "Well, let me tell you about Walter Reed." And then that's kind of where this idea of the stories that they tell came from.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, because if you notice in the song, it kind of paints a picture and it tells a story, right? Like there's a veteran who comes in, and you know this is where he comes in every year, and he smokes a cigar for his buddy that he lost, you know, back in Vietnam, and he's hanging out with other veterans, right? And they start telling stories. Connor in the song is actually a guy that I deployed with, and his biggest claim to fame right now is the fact that he's in one of my songs, which is absolutely hilarious.
Nice.
He'll come to my show, and I'll be like, "Hey, you want to hear the song that you're in?" He's like, "Hell yeah, man!" And it's funny, like he'll give his kids shit, like, "Oh, you guys think you're something? Like, are you guys in a song? I don't think you are." Okay. Dude,
by the way, this is from Taylor. This old.
Hey,
I am where I really did get with her and get her on the podcast too.
Yeah, man. But yeah, that was you know, it's really cool. So in the song, we tell the story about veterans, and these veterans are interacting with each other, and they're telling the stories. And you know, these stories are the reason why we tell these stories is because while we're telling the stories, for those brief moments in time, the people that, you know, the brothers and sisters that we lost, the greatest people we've ever known, are alive again. And that there's something so therapeutic and so like incredible about that. And I wanted to make sure that in the song we told the story, and that they had to be veterans. They had to be veterans talking amongst themselves, because we're the ones that tell those stories amongst each other. Like we don't talk a lot about it to other people, but amongst each other, we'll talk about it just about anything.
Right.
I mean, shit, we got no problem pulling down our pants and be like, does that look normal? You know, we don't care. There's no shame amongst others, man.
I mean, it looks a little small, but yeah, normal isn't that.
Yeah, is that
I
normal?
think we talked
There's no shame
Shannon
amongst
about
others,
that.
man. There's no such thing as shame.
I think we talked to Shannon Book about that too, and he's like, "I've seen more penis."
Shannon has seen way more.
He's like, "Yeah," he was like, "I've seen
miles
more
of
penis
it,
than anybody,
miles
you
of
know,
penis,
just miles of penis."
So we have that going.
Shannon's one of my best friends, man. I love Shannon.
Oh, I love Shannon too, man. He was so great to have on. It was just
Absolutely.
incredible. Hopefully, we get to do Fubar Fridays with Shannon. We're looking forward to that. I think it'll be fun if he's.
Yeah, we're trying to drag him down with us, you know.
Yeah, we're trying to drag him down with us and do that thing. What I was going to ask you, so how do you like? You know, obviously the military is a big sell, so a lot of veterans write songs about the military experience. Yeah. How do you reach outside that? How do you reach outside the military experience? I personally sucked balls at writing military songs. So I ended up just writing songs about shit I know. Like, what's that look like for you guys?
Yeah, absolutely, man. You know, and it's hard. A lot of times I have to have someone that's co-writing with me. I have to have a co-writer, and he has to be a civilian. It's one of the reasons why I like writing with Doug so much, is because he understands that I don't mind writing military songs, but I don't only want to write military songs. I want people to be able to connect with it on every front, not just military, not just veterans. I want everyone to be able to connect with it. That's why when I wrote "How Do You Choose," I never once, said anything about the military in it, because "How Do You Choose" can be felt by anybody. That conversation, that idea, everything in that song could literally be something that anyone's struggling with. And it was I have to have someone who's a civilian with me when we're writing. There's sometimes when I'll write a song that like "Forever to Me," I wrote that song by myself, and you guys haven't heard it yet. You guys have heard a little bit of it because I have it on my social media. But yeah, I wrote that song by myself, and it was a song about my girlfriend, man. It's a song about being divorced. It was a song about being divorced and, saying, hey, I'm not getting divorced again. Like, this is it. Like, I've already been divorced. Like, this time is going to be the last time. And, this is this is it for good. This is for life. And, and how many fucking people have been divorced in this world? Like a lot. Yeah. Right. So that's one that can be felt by veterans and the normal person, because so many people have felt that before, where they're like, that I've been hurt, I've been divorced, and the next one is it. I'm not going to make that mistake again. So with that song, I wanted to write a song that anyone could understand.
God, I wish.
But yeah, then there's songs that are very strictly military that I want, military veterans and people. And so, like with the stories that they tell, like I wrote it for veterans to, understand and to want to tell stories, because they understand why they want to tell stories. But also, I wanted it to be heard by someone who's not military, a normal civilian, to kind of understand us more about why, whenever we meet each other, we have no problem telling stories that we do. Because I think it's important that, that the general population understand that we veterans are not fucking monsters that are just ready to fucking blow up at every moment. And that,
I think that's huge.
Yeah. And that, I want people to understand in my music that, we feel shit too. And that, this idea of, for a lot of us, this idea of, I'm going to put America's going to put a boot in your ass isn't patriotic. What's patriotic is remembering those fucking heroes that didn't come home with us. Because at the end of the day, those are heroes. The people who got a fucking flag laid on their casket, those are heroes.
Exactly.
And, I think that it's important for, normal everyday civilians and people to understand that, for a lot of us, patriotism isn't, fucking yay, America, hoorah, America. It's remembering the people that wore that flag, that, that got killed in action, the people whose headstones we fucking look at all the time,
Right.
So with like writing your songs and stuff, you talking about you generally like to have somebody else who wasn't military to help you write them, because it's got to be hard, right, to try to write a song and like what you're feeling and thinking, but make it make sense to other people also, or make it to where they can relate to it. Because hell, even in between the branches, because like Army lingo, Marine Corps lingo, and Air Force lingo, it's all
absolutely.
Like we could be talking about this one thing, but we all call it something completely different.
Yeah.
So
I try to keep like stuff like that, like the different lingo and the different isms that we all use. I try to keep those out of songs.
Well, yeah, I mean, but I'm talking more like just the way, because obviously we can't even really interact with regular people the way we would interact with each other at the same time, because it just wouldn't make sense and would just come across way wrong from what you're actually how you mean it, So
it helps having a civilian around to correlate military experience to.
Has that made it harder for you to write some of these songs?
At first, yes, because like Derek said, like you want to write about what you know, right? So if you're struggling with that PTSD, the depression, all that other shit, like it's hard to not want to write. I don't know what beat to use. Hey, same. I was a multicam guy, so but yeah, it's hard, especially at first. It's hard to not want to write about that shit, because that's the shit that we feel on a daily basis, right? That PTSD, the depression, the anxiety, we want to get that out, because those are our feelings. And at the end of the day, you're writing your feelings on this fucking piece of paper, and that's what's going to be the song. Now that I've done it a whole lot of times, it's becoming easier to kind of shut parts of that off to where, okay, we're going to write about this, or we're going to write about that. Like it becomes easier. It becomes easier to
that makes sense,
to kind of shut parts of it off, because we want to do like a light, fun song this time.
Well, kind of like transition into your just your art rather than
I mean that's where it gets easier, so the art improves. It goes from just being your feelings, but you have to also be able to sometimes feel that shit and write it down. How Do You Choose was a song that I never wanted to write. It just kind of came out one day when I was hanging out with my buddy because of some shit that was flowing out at the time. And that's just kind of where it came from. It was never a song. I had that song locked way, way to fuck down. I never wanted to write it. I never wanted anyone to hear it. And it was the right day at the right time. And I just couldn't stop it from coming out. And that's the song that we ended up with. And I fucking love it.
Yeah,
I can't wait to hear
it. I literally just listened to that.
It's on my Instagram and stuff. So there was a Memorial Day. There was a Memorial Day thing from my buddy Adam Hamilton, who got killed. He was my best friend, and the reason why I wrote that song. And his mom asked me if she could use the version where I opened for Dave Grohl. I played that when I opened for Dave Grohl. That was the first time I ever played it on that video, and she had asked me if she could use that for a memorial for Adam, and I was like, absolutely, like that's where that song came from. So it's on there now. So on my Instagram,
I think that's the one I saw, and there's tons of photos and
the photos pop up and stuff. That's actually him. Yeah. That's actually Adam. We call him Ham. That's actually who the guitar that I play all the time. It's a Gibson J45. It's named Ham.
It's such a powerful video, man. I was in tears watching the shit because it's a strong song. It was incredible.
Yeah, that song. I love that. I've never so when I go into the studio, I try to focus feelings. I want people to hear the feelings that I'm saying that are supposed to be in the song. I want them to hear them in my voice. I have never fully embraced the feelings like I did. That was the first time ever in the studio where I literally fucking lost it. And I was in the middle of the song, and it was there's a part at the end in the recording where it gets really high, and I fucking lost it, man. I started fucking crying and bawling my eyes out like a baby, dude. I just couldn't. Yeah, I couldn't stop it, because in the studio, when you're cutting a track, you want people to feel the feelings that are in the song, and I felt every single feeling. And dude, it was rough to get through. But yeah, I mean, that was a song I never wanted to sing. I never wanted to have to really confront that. And
it's hard.
And I did. And the only reason why it became a song that's now being recorded and stuff. So originally it became a song that I wrote for my best friend's mom. She wanted to, so me and her sat down and we talked, and I wanted to write a song for her. And we talked and we laughed and we cried, and it was great. She came to a show, and it was awesome, and it was so cool. And, while we were talking later that evening, it was this overwhelming sense of how do you choose? How who the fuck makes that decision? How am I shot 10 times when I'm not here? And my best friend's mom is sitting right across from me, and he's not. What? How the fuck am I here? And it was just this overwhelming weight that just weighed on me. And that was one of the reasons why I never wanted to write it, because it scared the shit out of me to actually have to expand into that.
To deal with your emotions.
Yeah, and so I wrote it, and I went and I opened for Dave Grohl, and I played 4 acoustic songs. He played 4 acoustic songs, and that song, the first time I ever played it, is the one that's on Instagram and Facebook and all that. And
it was so incredible, man.
It was the first time I had ever played it, and there were 200 something people there. 98% of them were veterans. And I've never in my entire life, my entire career of singing or performing, I've never played a song and then there's just deafening silence afterwards. I've never felt that in my entire life. And it fucking, dude, I got chills as soon as I got done playing that song, because it just gets quiet. And it's just and I look up and everyone's fucking bawling, man. And I'm like, oh shit. I have to record this fucking song. Because afterwards I had a shitload of the veterans that came up to me and they're like, dude, that song, how do you choose? That song, I go through that. That's something I go through. And after talking to them, as soon as I left that day, I called Doug and I said, "There's something to this song. We have to record it. Like we have
Yeah,
to put this song."
absolutely.
And he was like, "Absolutely, let's do it." And it was amazing because I am a nobody, and Doug is, one of the greatest songwriters and producers of all time, and head A&R guys of all time, and he immediately knew, just in my voice and the way that I talked about it, that this was important. It had to be put out. It had to be said. And he was immediately like, absolutely. Like a lot of times, like I'm like, hey, I want to record that song. He's like, all right, well, let me talk to Gordon, who's the president, and I talk. But no, I said it. He was like, absolutely, let's do it. And I was like, shit, okay. But
I love that, man. That's so
yeah,
incredible.
that song is it's incredible.
So what was it like opening up for Dave Grohl?
I mean, incredible. Like Dave Grohl was one of the best to ever fucking do it. Like, honestly, it was
drummer, acoustic guitar.
It was
the guy.
It was the best show I've ever been to, ever in my entire life. I've been to a lot of fucking shows, but this was the best one. Number one, I got to be a part of it, which was fucking awesome. But to watch Dave Grohl, like normally, like I've watched Dave Grohl before. I've been to a concert of his before with the Foo Fighters, and there's that's an amazing show. The Foo Fighters are fucking awesome. But then you take Dave Grohl completely stripped down with just an acoustic, and it was unbelievable, man. It was magic just to watch him, the way that he interacted with the crowd, the way that he like sang every part of his song and play. Dude, it was awesome. It was the best show I've ever been a part of.
That's so amazing. I'm jealous, man.
Yeah.
That being said,
I'm like, man,
that being said, I wanted to ask you. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to wrap the show up because I'm having a lot of fun. But I do. What I wanted to ask you is, like, what's your message? What's the one thing you want to convey to everyone through your music, through what you're doing, and how do you get there?
Man, there's my message is a couple different things. Number one, don't fucking set limitations for yourself. Don't fucking do it. If you want to do something, find a way to do it. If you're struggling, find something you love and do it often because it's going to help you. Be nice to each other, man. This world is fucking hard enough, man. We have to stick together because there's a lot of people that are against us. We don't need to include ourselves in that.
Right.
And yeah, man, live life. Like literally, if you're thinking about doing something, go fucking try it. Because what do you have to lose? I mean,
exactly.
Life's too short. Life's too short not to enjoy it. So go find something. Go find, someone you love. Go do something that makes you feel fulfilled.
We vaguely talked about mental health throughout the show because I think that's part of your story is kind of dealing
100%.
with mental health. And
it's one of the reasons I support these guys so much.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
The Mental Joe apparel. Absolutely.
Yeah. I love
Absolutely.
that. Yeah. But we haven't really dove into it. I just want to kind of, I don't know how to word this, I guess. I just want to ask you, like, what do you tell people when they come to you and they're like, I don't know what to do? Like, we've been sitting there, we've dealt with a lot of people that have killed themselves, obviously. I think
Absolutely.
you have too. And what's your advice? What do you have to say? Because that's why we started this show. Because
I mean, that's what I tell them, man. I mean, everyone says the same shit. If you're struggling, reach out. A lot of people don't. A lot of people aren't going to bring other people into their shit. It's just not going to happen. My advice is find something you love to do and do it a lot, because it'll give you that escape. It'll give you that purpose. It'll give you that newfound want to be alive because you fucking enjoy this so much and you want to do it. That means a hobby, a fucking new career, whatever you want to do. Find something that you love and do it. For me, it's music. Music saved my life. Music gave me a new purpose. And, there's so much out there that we can do, whether it be fucking hiking, which is absolutely terrible. I don't know why people like that. Because I don't like walking, period.
Two of my favorite things.
Just there's some people that just being outside makes them feel good, man. Find something. Like don't ever not try something. Don't put a limitation on yourself. Go out and find something you love and literally just do it all the fucking time. If it's paintball, if you love fucking up kids on the paintball range, do it, man. Like, screw it. Live your life. Have fun, dude. That's the problem, man. We get in our heads and we talk about, we throw these fucking pity parties on ourselves and the fact that, we don't deserve happiness, blah, blah, blah. Fuck that, dude. Yeah, you do. Go out and have fun.
That's my favorite thing too. Like, that's just going to like youth paintball games and shaving my face and
yeah, dude, go terrorize some kids. Fuck yeah, dude.
I'm way younger than I really am, and just fuck those 12-year-old
absolutely
kids.
Just go terrorize them on the paintball field, man. Who cares?
I'm an absolute
I love watching kids fall off bikes. I could watch your kids fall off bikes all day.
Absolutely, man. I mean, and that's at the end of the day, that's what it is. People who are struggling with mental health, like I still do on a daily basis, but finding a new purpose, finding that one thing that helps you switch all this shit off. That's the most important thing. Thank you, Gerald. I appreciate that, man. That's awesome.
His name's Scotty, by the way, also. This is
what did he say?
What was it? His real name's Scotty, just so you know.
Gerald's real name is Scotty?
Yeah.
There we go. Scotty. I love it.
Throwing your ass under the bus, Geraldine music.
But yeah, man, and there's a lot of there's people that I talk to all the time that are like, man, I'm just in a place, man, and it's hard and it's hard to get out of and blah blah blah. I said the only way you're gonna get out of it is finding something you love.
Well, getting yourself out of it. So finding something you love and getting out of your own funk, getting out of your own head and making that decision to get the fuck over it, I guess.
100%
better than
100%. And I think finding that thing and really being hooked into it is kind of, in a way, their way of getting themselves out of that, because it's, it changes everything, man. If you find something that you love to do and you want to do it all the time, whether it be a hobby, I mean, fuck, there's people that love going target shooting and shit. Like, go do that, just find something that you enjoy.
Not like the chain store or anything like that. Just
no. I mean, like, actually, like, at a range.
Yeah.
Not at a target.
Not at a target.
Target's at a range. Go to a target and shoot stuff. That's bad. But yeah, I mean, as long as you're not hurting yourself and as long as you're not hurting someone else and you enjoy doing it. I'm not telling you if you're a serial killer, go kill more people because you love it. Don't fucking do it. That's wrong. But if you can find a hobby or something that you love, go do it because it's going to change everything for you.
That went so many places.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
No, that's on par with who we are. And
that's just awesome.
Why we're here. I love
it, man. That being said, we usually wrap up the show. We ask what you took from the episode. And I'm going to start with you, Scotty. What did you take from the episode, man?
Just the camaraderie, man. That's something that we as veterans miss, dude. And I think that's like a big part of why mental health is so rampant in us, is because we lose that. We lose that, man. Like, we're such a tight-knit group, and then all of a sudden you're done, and everyone's gone, and everyone's here or there, and it's just, finding that camaraderie again is just fucking, it's awesome.
It's nice. I mean, it's just
absolutely.
Great.
Absolutely.
That being said, TJ, what'd you take from this episode, brother?
Man, really just I fucking suck at life now that after talking to Scotty, I'm like, bro, I've tried learning how to play guitar and like I can use both my hands for the most part, but it's I can't use the fucking thing inside here very well. Most of the time, too. I try, but it's mine's defective. But I'll just great. I think kind of like what Scotty was saying, like pretty much the whole time, like just don't give up. And if someone's telling you that you can't fucking do it, no matter who it is, even if it's the doctors, the professionals that are saying that you can't do it, they're not you. They don't have the drive and the intestinal fortitude to keep pushing forward and keep trying to better yourself and accomplish your goals.
Yes.
So that's one thing that I really took from it. So I appreciate that also,
Yeah.
Scotty.
Yeah. I think that's what I took from it, man. The fact at the end of the day, we're capable of doing anything we want to.
Hell yeah.
Seeing your story, or listening to your story, and just like getting to talk to you has blown my mind, for one. And for two, it's been great to just hear. Hopefully, we got to learn a little bit something new about you that hasn't been on the other podcasts. And I mean, I love it, man. This is so great to get to talk to people.
Listen, I'll give you an exclusive that no one else ever really talks about on the other podcast. Not long ago, I had a tumor that had cancer in it, and it got removed. I got cut up right here,
shit.
got removed from here, and now I got my lymph nodes taken out, so I have a giant scar right there too. I tell people that someone tried to cut my throat. So
that sounds more accurate based off your life.
That's what I tell people.
So hang on, I think what we should. So when that happened, the only thing that you had on you were what you were wearing at the time.
Yeah.
So you had to
naked.
Yeah. Well, you still had some socks on, so you had to take those off, and you had to choke them out with your hero socks.
Yes. That's it.
And that's what
you got to do. What you got to do.
You got to choke people with your hero socks. I mean, that's all.
But yeah, that's one thing that I haven't talked a lot about. It's relatively fresh. It was about a year ago. And
I appreciate you sharing that with us, man. I mean,
I was lucky because I didn't have to do any chemo or anything. They just took it out, and
that's awesome.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. I'm just thankful, man, that we got to talk to you, that we've had the opportunity. Hopefully, we get to talk some more. I want to dive into your story more as it develops and goes on, because it's amazing. You know, we've knocked out the big part of it now, and now I look forward to seeing you grow and just push forward, because
I appreciate
you're going to do it. I mean, I have no doubt that you're going to be there. So,
well, and I know that Derek and I both have more questions and other questions that we didn't get to tonight. You know, since we had to reschedule you like 47 different times.
No doubt.
But
But that being said,
I would love to come back. So
I would love to have you back, for one. For two, I'll plug us, and then I want to finish with plugging you. So we're places, we're things. We are wherever you listen to podcasts and all that. I'll be hosting Gunroom Radio Friday through Sunday, noon to 3. If you get a chance to check me out, it'll be beer days and tunes. And outside that, Scotty, plug your stuff, man.
Man. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, fucking Threads now. Apparently that's a thing.
That's a thing.
It's a poor man's Twitter. It's at Scotty Hasting Music. You can find me anywhere. Anywhere you get your music, look me up at Scotty Hasting. Too easy.
I love that, man.
And definitely follow me, because there's a lot of shit happening this year into next year. So
is it all Scotty Hasting, or just like Scotty Hasting Music? Like
so for my music, it's just under Scotty Hasting.
Gotcha.
For my social media and all that stuff, it's Scotty Hasting Music.
Okay.
So just type in Scotty Hasting and you'll see it pop up. Usually.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I mean, you'll see his glorious bearded face pop up on your stuff. It'll be awesome.
He is a beautiful specimen of a man.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
And then, make sure you follow anyone that works with us. We've had so many people on this show, man, that they all share Scotty's stuff. So make sure you check them out too. That being said, I love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Scotty, if you want, hang around for a minute. We'd love to talk to you a little bit more.
Absolutely.
Hopefully we can figure some more out. So
yeah.
Have a good night, guys. Thank you for listening.
Thank you all so
like
much.
TJ says, I'm stealing this from TJ tonight. Don't be a cocksucker. If somebody's talking to you, make sure you listen and talk to them and be there for them. Be there for everybody that's around you. If you disagree with somebody, love them anyway. do what you guys do, man. Love you guys.